Spiritual Teaching 308. Love each other. 1. Beloved disciples, truly seek to perfect yourself by practicing spiritual prayer daily. Behold that in addition to entering into an intimate communication with your Master and experiencing infinite peace during those moments, it is your best opportunity to receive my divine inspirations. In prayer, you will find an explanation of things you did not understand or have misinterpreted. You will discover how to avoid dangers, solve problems, and settle confusions. During that moment of holy spiritual communication, your senses will become clear and you will feel more inclined and willing to do virtuous things. 2. Learn to pray in this manner because the world is filled with many dangers during this period. The individual who learns to pray with his spirit will arm himself with weapons that will make him invincible during his struggles and will help him triumph in each of his ordeals. 3. I am illuminating your path with my divine light because you are unable to illuminate your own path. However, once you guide your life on earth according to my doctrine, you will tell me, "Thank you, Father, for having shown us how to journey along the path of life, for we will no longer stumble nor become lost." 4. During the second era I said, "I am the light of the world." I said that because man, during that period, was only familiar with things pertaining to their life on earth. Today, in spirit, I say to you, I am the light of the universe, which illuminates and gives life to all planets, heavens, and mansions. I enlighten and give life to all beings. 5. You are children of the Father of divine light. However, due to your weaknesses, you might be living a life that is filled with sin, tears, and pain. Eventually your sorrow will disappear because you will arise to follow me when I summon you with the following words. I am here, illuminating your planet and inviting you to climb to the top of the mountain. When you reach the top, you will discover all the peace, joy, and riches that you had unsuccessfully sought on earth. 6. I offer my forgiveness to all of my children and nations on earth. My divine enlightenment touches the deepest part of your heart so that you can feel the presence of the Divine Father, for I love all of my children. 7. Although I bless your sorrows and tears, my beloved people, I say to you that you have not yet learned to accept your chalice of bitterness in a loving and accepting manner. You have not wanted to imitate me, and that is why many times you have been unable to accept your ordeals, causing you to even rebel. 8. If you want to be one of my disciples, you will need to willingly endure the bitter ordeals that you will experience as demonstrated by me during the second era. You need to show your brethren that you are strong, not weak. Therefore, you should not be telling everyone about your ordeals. Did I, perhaps, express anger against those individuals who helped to crucify me at Calvary? No, rather I blessed them and said to the Lord, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. 9. Do not forget that the merit does not consist in suffering, but in knowing how to suffer with patience, faith, and love toward the Father. In this manner one can benefit from suffering and learn its profound teachings. If in your ordeals there is not love toward the will of your Father, you will have achieved no merit before me. You will have failed to take advantage of the opportunity to elevate yourself. Thus, you will need to go through that same ordeal again, which your spirit must eventually endure with love and acceptance. Your life would be different if instead of carrying your cross unwillingly, you would journey through your path, accepting and blessing your suffering. Immediately, you would feel as if an invisible hand removed the cup of bitterness from your lips. 10. Blessed is the one who blesses the will of the Lord. Blessed is the one who blesses his own cup of bitterness, knowing that it will cleanse his sins, for he will be preparing himself to climb the spiritual mountain. 11. It will not always be necessary for you to drink the last drop from your cup of bitterness. If I perceive that you have faith, are obedient, and that you are willing to obey my mandate, then I will not allow you to endure the most difficult moment of your ordeal. Remember that Abraham was asked to sacrifice Isaac, whom he greatly loved. In spite of the great pain that he felt and the great love that he had for his son, He was willing to sacrifice Isaac as proof of his obedience, faith, humility, and great love of God, which man has not been able to comprehend. Abraham did not have to sacrifice his son, because in the depths of his heart he showed that he was willing to obey the will of God. This was sufficient to God. What great joy Abraham felt when his hand was detained by a superior force preventing the sacrifice of Isaac. He greatly blessed the name of his Lord and was amazed at God's wisdom. 12. My beloved people, I want you to remember the great lessons that I have given you throughout the eras. Thus, you can truly know me and be able to feel my presence when you confront an ordeal. It will help you understand my mercy during your most difficult and bitter moments, because until now your lack of spirituality has not allowed you to feel my presence. That is why you do not appreciate my deeds of love and justice each moment of your life. 13. Due to your ignorance, you reject many ordeals and are unaware of the enlightenment that each brings to your spirit. There are many lessons that you have not yet learned because of your discontent, fear, lack of faith, and unwillingness to accept your ordeals. 14. I am not telling you that you should love suffering. No, instead you should love peace, happiness, and enlightenment. However, since you are suffering due to your imperfections, learn to bless it and to endure it patiently, knowing that it has come to save you and to purify you. Your suffering will reveal many truths to you. 15. Men and women of little faith, why does your faith weaken when you confront an ordeal? Have you not seen how I quickly help those who have fallen to arise, how I dry the tears of those who weep, and how I accompany them, lonely and visit the ill? 16. I dedicate this teaching to all the men and women who have wept greatly in life. Meditate deeply over this teaching, and you will feel a sweet and gentle comfort penetrating into your heart. A little light will glow in the deepest part of your being, and you will feel a sensitivity in your being that you have never experienced before, awakening your dormant fibers and allowing you to feel my spiritual presence. Thus, you will feel my presence not only in your moments of sorrow, but also in your moments of joy and peace. 17. Leave me your grief and sorrows during these moments. Weep and sup, because crying will relieve the spirit of its heavy burden and free the heart of its worries. 18. Cry, my beloved people, because crying is one of the most sincere prayers emerging from your heart to God. Tomorrow, when you have triumphed over suffering and have attained spirituality, your best prayer will no longer be your tears, but the peace felt in your spirit. You will draw nearer to me and bless me through that spiritual peace. 19. Today I present myself in spirit before you, and I speak to you in spirit so that you may know me better. 20. When I was on earth, this multitude saw me in human form and became familiar with my name, Jesus. It was not until I departed from earth that humanity realized that Christ was the one who spoke through Jesus, the Christ who had been announced by the prophets. Since that time, humanity has referred to Jesus as Christ. 21. Truly I tell you that Christ was not born on earth. He existed before the creation of the planets in the universe because he is one with the Divine Father. 22. Jesus was the one who was born on earth. I utilized his holy body as my instrument so that humanity would be able to perceive me and listen to my words. 23. I, Christ, who now speaks to you, manifested myself through Jesus. I inspired him, strengthened him, and gave him life because he was destined to fulfill a divine mission. His life, his body, and his blood were dedicated to verifying the words of Christ who inspired him spiritually. 24. Although Jesus was a human, he was conceived without stain and impurity to serve as an instrument for God. God, the divine Word, manifested himself through Jesus. At the age of 30 years, Christ began to manifest the splendor of his glory, truth, and love through Jesus. 25. Sweet Jesus, the humble Nazarene who had awaited the moment when Christ would begin to speak through him, saw John along the shores of the river. Jordan to become baptized. Did Jesus seek baptism to become purifying? No, my people, he did not. Did he, perhaps, want to celebrate a ritual? No, he did not. At that time, he knew that the moment had arrived for Christ to manifest himself through him. Since Jesus wanted humanity to remember that very important occurrence, he allowed that event to occur. 26. Although Jesus had no stains to be cleansed when he was baptized, his baptism served as an example for humanity to show that he would renounce all things from the world in order to fulfill only the will of God. Those who witnessed the baptism of Jesus heard a divine voice that said, "This is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased. Listen to him." 27. As of that moment, Christ, the divine Word, manifested himself verbally through Jesus. Men referred to Jesus as Rabbi, Divine Master, Messenger, Messiah, and the Son of God. 28. I manifested myself verbally 3 years through Jesus, and my words or thoughts were never distorted or misrepresented. He fulfilled my will through each of his deeds. He did that because Jesus and Christ were truly one, similar to how Christ is truly one with the Divine Father. 29. Disciples, today I have come to speak to you by manifesting myself spiritually through human spokesmen, although I say to you that the body of the human spokesman is not the body of God, as was the body of Jesus. I have not come to incarnate in a human body during this period. Instead, I am manifesting myself through human spokesmen who lack true purity, as do all people on earth. Therefore, you need to truly prepare yourselves as you listen to my teachings, so that you may discover their true essence even if the spokesmen express themselves in an illiterate and imperfect manner. 30. Blessed are those who are able to discover the true essence of my teachings. They are able to distinguish between the essence and the imperfections of the human language. They are the ones who will best interpret my teachings. They will not be like those confused individuals who, studying my deeds and words from the second era, are unable to distinguish when Christ, the Divine Spirit, is teaching and when Jesus, the man, is speaking. 31. Study my teachings with love so that later, when you need to offer testimony about my manifestation, you will be able to speak to your brethren in a truthful and simple manner. 32. You joyfully tell me about your deeds and inform me of both your successes and failures. I, your Divine Father, who presides over your life and eternally watches after you, inspire you to continue forward along your path and to truly put your best effort to manifest virtue and justice in all you do. 33. You have learned to pray before you take any step along your path. You want to truly obey my laws, and you frequently remember your responsibilities as my disciple. You have prepared yourself to fulfill your material responsibilities without having to spend all of your time and energy in fulfilling them. Therefore, you are able to truly dedicate your best moments, energy, and all of your heart to fulfilling your spiritual mission. You are aware that the length of your life on earth is the exact amount of time that you will need to fulfill great deeds that are worthy of your spirit. Thus, when you become aware of the spiritual gifts that you possess, you will make a true effort to work as hard as you can to fulfill your spiritual mission, bringing joy to yourself and to the Divine Father. 34. I have summoned you and have prepared you like a clean glass that can be filled with the essence of this doctrine so that you may share it with your brethren. Thus, they will be able to feel the same joy that you have felt. You are able to perceive a long path that lies ahead of you, a path that begins and ends with me. Remember that I previously said that I am the way. If you follow that path in an obedient and loving manner, you will reach the end of that path with joy and peace in your spirit. You will have no complaints when you come before me, because you will have done all that you could to help some of your brethren progress along the path of spirituality. You will have helped those individuals who were assigned to you during this period of regeneration. 35. Do not depart yet to different regions to help your brethren along their path until you become spiritually strong. Prepare yourselves first as did my disciples during the second era. After having lived with the Divine Master, witnessing his miracles, and eagerly nourishing themselves with his words, those disciples still felt weak and incapable of continuing with my work. Knowing that I would soon depart, they asked me to remain with them a while longer. However, as the day of my departure approached, they accepted the fact that their beloved Divine Master had to depart and would leave them an important mission to fulfill. I observed the great sorrow that they were feeling in their hearts, and I spoke to them, offering them words of comfort as I told them, "Do not be afraid, for I will be near you and will always illuminate you with my divine enlightenment." During this third era, I have also come to give you my teachings for just a certain time period. You have received my blessings, however, this manifestation through the human spokesman will also cease, so that later you will learn to communicate with God from spirit to spirit. 36. I do not want you to weep and be discontent when this manifestation comes to an end. I want you to accept that this manifestation has to cease, in the same manner that you have immensely enjoyed these teachings. Thus, man will be able to reach a higher level of spirituality, which will bring him closer to the Divine Father. 37. Perceive me with your spirit and penetrate with love into this divine moment. I am illuminating the spokesman as I speak through him so that my words will penetrate deep within your heart. Your heart is like an orchard which I am cultivating with great love. It is being watered through these divine teachings so that it will become fertile and strong, producing new multiple seeds. Thus, those new seeds can be spread on fields that are dry and thirsty for love. 38. Allow me to guide you, and therefore, when you reach the end of your path, you will discover that your accomplishments are truly great because you obeyed and fulfilled my will. 39. This manifestation will soon cease at the end of 1950. Then, the ordeals will arrive like a whirlwind to lash at this large and strong tree, removing its dry leaves and bad fruits. 40. Many individuals from this multitude will weaken when that great ordeal arrives, and will become like dry leaves that separate from the tree which had nourished them. They will weaken due to a lack of faith and love, and will stumble due to confusion and lack of an ideal. Those individuals, however, will be replaced by others who will arrive and will become highly dedicated disciples filled with goodwill. 41. The new disciples who will arrive are individuals who presently are not even aware of this doctrine. From the moment of their arrival, some of those individuals will reveal great humility and dedication to my doctrine. They will listen to my voice asking them to follow me. They will follow me, imitating my disciples from the second era who were previously fishermen. 42. There will also be other individuals who will criticize my doctrine and persecute this multitude. However, some of those same individuals will convert, becoming my most faithful and elevated disciples. Their conversion will be similar to what happened to Saul, my beloved Paul, who offered true evidence of his love for the Divine Master. He replaced the one disciple who betrayed me among my 12 disciples. 43. Likewise, during this period, new individuals will arrive among this nation of spiritual Israel to replace those individuals who will reject and betray me. 44. I say to those individuals who will lose faith during the moment of their ordeal, carry in your spirit the immortal seed of my doctrine so that one day you will attain salvation. 45. Also I say to those individuals who will remain faithful and who will follow me to the end, prepare and strengthen yourselves through the essence of my word so that you will not weaken in the presence of those who will judge, criticize, ridicule, and persecute you. 46. Do not forget what happened to Peter, my disciple, whom Saul intended to murder. I proved to my faithful apostle that he was not alone in his ordeal, and that if he trusted in my power, I would defend him from those who wanted to persecute him. Saul was surprised by my divine light when he went searching to capture Peter. My light touched the deepest part of Saul's heart, and he knelt in, my presence conquered by my love. He then became incapable of carrying out the mission that he intended to carry out against my apostle Peter. Instead, he felt a transformation of his entire being because of the great faith and love he felt for Christ. He then quickly went looking for Peter, not to murder him, but to ask Peter about the teachings of Christ and to become actively involved in the Lord's work. 47. Since then, Saul became known as Paul. That change of name signified the complete spiritual transformation that had occurred in that individual. 48. During this period I say to the nation of spiritual Israel that if you truly trust in me, as did my disciples during the second era, you will have no need to defend yourselves against those who will persecute and slander you. I will surprise those individuals along their path when they clearly hear my voice, the same voice heard by Saul, asking them, "Why are you persecuting me?" How many conversions and miraculous events you will witness. But you need to prepare yourself and to be patient. Be vigilant and pray, my people. Ordeals will arrive that will touch this multitude, but I want you to remain spiritually united so that you may perceive the fulfillment of my prophecies. 49. Do not be feared that you will be unable to remember most of my words. Truly I say to you that when you are confronting an ordeal, if you know how to prepare yourself and meditate, you will be able to remember most of my words which you thought you had forgotten. 50. When you enter into meditation and prayer, it will seem to you that you are actually listening to this word, but truly you will only be receiving its spiritual essence. 51. That experience will give you great confidence because you will realize that whenever you are experiencing an ordeal, my teachings will reach your lips and my divine enlightenment will influence your mind. 52. Roque Rojas, my foreigner, was inspired by the spirit of Elijah to write the following phrase: "Practice charity, and more charity, with your brethren, and you will perceive my Father in all of his splendor." Disciples, what he said is true, because whoever does not practice charity will not be able to enter into my kingdom. I assure you that even the most hardened sinner will be able to attain salvation if he practices charity. 53. Do not wait to practice charity until your final days on earth, because if you have achieved few merits when you arrive to the doors of my spiritual kingdom, you will be unable to enter. 54. I advise you to sow charity throughout the rest of your life so that you will gather an abundant harvest. 55. Aspire to practice charity more than anything else. You will never regret it because you will experience great joy and satisfaction practicing that great virtue. Also, you will acquire the wisdom, strength, and elevation that a noble spirit desires. 56. You will purify your spirit and settle your old debts by practicing charity with your brethren. Also, you will live a more virtuous life on earth as you become more spiritually elevated. When you enter the spiritual valley, you will rejoice greatly as your spiritual brethren welcome you with their blessings, because you have fulfilled the mission of spirituality and regeneration. 57. Multitudes, come to me so that through my teachings you will learn to practice charity. Come listen to my word so that you may receive what I have brought you. Thus, you will realize that although you may be very poor materially, you are rich with spiritual gifts. You can practice charity with those gifts and offer your brethren comfort, health, peace, wisdom, and life. 58. No one should say that he is unable to practice deeds of charity because he is materially poor. If he says that it is due to his ignorance, his poor faith, and lack of spiritual enlightenment. 59. Here, among this multitude, there is no one who is truly poor, because my kingdom has descended to humanity to offer its spiritual gifts and treasures. 60. My word is similar to a river that is filled with purifying water, a water that has come to cleanse and fertilize the dry fields that exist on earth. Cleanse your heart and spirit using that purifying water so that you may become liberated from your burden of sins. 61. If you do not cleanse yourself first, you will be unable to feel true charity toward your brethren. Also, you will be unable to truly feel their suffering and understand their tears. Be aware that the nation of spiritual Israel has the mission of spiritually uniting humanity into one single family. 62. This is 1950, the final year in which I will manifest myself through human spokesmen. You cannot deny that you have listened to numerous teachings. When this manifestation ceases, I will have revealed all things that you need to know. It is now time to inform you to stop being passive and to become an active worker in these holy fields. You should no longer be satisfied with only listening to and thinking about my teachings. It is now time for your spirit, which has attained spiritual freedom, to arise and share this message that it has received with its brethren on earth. 63. The numerous individuals who have come to witness this spiritual manifestation need to start fulfilling their mission on earth. They need to learn from these teachings and from the enlightened spiritual beings. Some individuals have limited themselves to only working in these houses of prayer for many years. They need to realize that the moment will soon arrive in which they will need to journey to different parts of the world to spread the seed of light and peace that I have given them. 64. This multitude will have to greatly struggle among itself and be tested by me in order to attain the preparation that it needs to fulfill its mission. 65. The ordeals that this multitude will endure will help it to become united, because as long as this multitude fails to become spiritually united, its harvest will be fruitless. 66. That is why I have always told this multitude that it needs to live in harmony so that it may continually live in harmony with the rest of humanity. Remember that at the first I said, practice charity and more charity with your brethren, and you will perceive my Father in all of his splendor. My peace be with you.